What's up, everybody? It's your favorite band, Side After Dark, and your new favorite podcast, the Music Maniacs with Side After Dark podcast.
You know it.
If you're watching this, it means you're on the Patreon, which means you're helping to make this possible, and we appreciate you. We love you. We're making this one just for you. We might put a few clips on YouTube, but we don't need to talk about that, okay? We're gonna do the greatest years in rock.
We are excited for that.
So this is going to be cool. There's going to be a lot to talk about, and like always, we're probably going to miss something. There's just so much. We're talking about whole years here. Like, a lot of things happen in a year. Yeah. So whatever, if we miss albums, if we miss big events that happen, then just let us know, tell us what we missed, and we're going to get into it.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to talk about 1967 next.
Uh-huh.
And holy shit, there was a lot that went on this year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, we could probably do a whole podcast just on 1967, honestly.
We could. Maybe we will.
Maybe one day. There were so many great bands that put out their first album this year. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like,
oh, man.
You want to start with The Doors?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Their ability to play their instruments the way they did definitely put them at the top of the charts. Like, it wasn't just about just having a good looking frontman. Like, it was definitely the music as well.
But also, Jim, he didn't hurt.
No, not another one that's not bad to look at.
We'll definitely do a Doors podcast one day. We don't want to go too much into the Doors because we could talk about them for multiple hours.
Who else are you gonna bring up? Is he purple? Does he haze a lot?
Yeah, let's go with that. We got that guy, Jimi Hendrix.
That's right.
And the Jimi Hendrix Experience, because what an experience it would have been to see him live.
Right. Yeah, I concur, sir. And the thing that's crazy is he started out with Little Richard, another rock and roller who was a pioneer, also, and brought all of that into his own way of playing.
Apparently he got kicked out of, he was in the Isley Brothers too, right?
Yeah. And
I don't remember if it was Little Richard or Isley Brothers where they kicked him out because he was just upstaging them.
I definitely believe it's Ron and it's Ron Isley and Ernie that would definitely, if I had to call it, I would say it was Ron and Ernie that kicked him out the band.
We got Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band came out this year.
Who?
These guys.
The Beatles.
They put out an album. It was pretty influential.
Just a little bit.
What can we say about that album that hasn't been said already?
It was okay.
It was overrated.
All right, so let's get tougher and grittier, and let's talk about the Who, because they're on the charts this year too.
And it was the first year they played America.
Woohoo! I love the Who.
Wait, who?
What?
What are you talking about?
Who?
I prefer the what? And this was the year too that Keith almost fucking blew Pete Townshend's head off when he blew up his drum kit. What a story! What a crazy guy. We talked about Keith Moon in our Greatest Drummers podcast. What a fucking insane person he was.
Absolutely. I'll always say about the Who, they look exactly like what they deliver. Like, that's, that Keith is the madman, that Roger is like the loud and the grit, right? And then that
Pete's serious.
Pete's the brains. Like, just that, I'm totally intimidated by the stare in Pete Townshend's eyes.
And then John is the strong silent type.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. They're not lying to you at all. Roger's ability to twist that mic and throw it up and not injure anyone is just beyond me, including himself. You know what I mean? That's just crazy.
I wonder how much he practiced that.
I don't know. Did he grow up on a farm, hog tying things and stuff? Like, I need to know.
I like to imagine him just in a rehearsal space by himself, just... Oh, fuck. Oh, okay.
You right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our boys in Pink Floyd put out their first album.
Whoa, yes they did. That's true.
Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Yeah. Obviously, we already did a whole podcast on them. Check that out. But this is when Syd Barrett was the leader of the band, and they were just doing real crazy psychedelic shit. They were at the forefront of the London psychedelic.
Yeah.
Just as much as anybody else. The Velvet Underground.
Oh man, that's a cool band. I really love Nico, and I love Lou Reed, and I love, who's the other guy?
I just thought it was really interesting because they said the quote about this Velvet Underground and Nico album is that not a lot of people heard it, but everybody that heard it started a band. This other band that came out this year, they were called Cream.
Oh, I haven't heard of them too much. Well, I have. I know there's a Ginger Baker. Yes. And I know there's Jack Bruce. I know for sure those two are in the band, but there's somebody else that I just can't remember either.
Yeah, Ginger Baker, he played the drums. He tore the drums up. We talked about him, the greatest drummers of all time.
Yeah.
Jack Bruce played the bass and he sang, and then there was some other guy. And they were great. They had some great songs. Sunshine of Your Love is a classic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, this was the year that Rolling Stone magazine started.
Shout out to Rolling Stone magazine, who doesn't like to list certain people on their charts, but hey, we like you anyway, and we still hold you up as, a bit of a rock and roll beacon, so you get that.
I feel like they were cool up until like 10 years ago. All right, let's jump ahead to 1987.
Woohoo!
Biggest song of the year, Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi.
Whoa.
That's a great song. I'm sorry. Like, it's easy to make fun of that song now. It really kind of just Bon Jovi in general now, to be honest. Yeah. But that's a great fucking song. So another band that became so big that it's almost like corny now, U2. Yes,
U2 reigned in 87, because like this is kind of like a counterculture to the hair band, U2, kind of like another social commentary type of band, not necessarily just talking about, being good looking and stuff like that, and just stunting on people. They were just actually talking about things going on in the world.
And I feel like that also has to do with just where they came from, like in Ireland, because shit was going on in Ireland at the time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a lot of murders and bombs in Ireland at the time. You know what I mean? So coming out of there, they're gonna have a different kind of perspective on things than like some hair metal band from LA that's just like girls. No offense, but you know what I'm saying. Def Leppard.
I mean, come on. Now that, like, do you hear those drums? Do you hear them? And that comes from one hand?
I was going to say, how many hands do you think this drummer has?
Oh my gosh. Like, wow.
Oh, I almost forgot, real quick, going back to 57, that was the year that Chuck Berry got a call from his cousin when he was listening to Marty McFly.
Yes!
And he gave him that new sound.
He did, yes.
So I
he called him in 1957, but he was playing like a 1958 Gibson. Now that was insane.
You might not get it, but your kids are going to love it.
Well, we got George. What are you going to mention?
I was going to talk about Nikki Sixx dying and coming back to life.
Oh, that's 87 for you. That's totally 80s for you.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So Nikki Sixx, bass player for Motley Crue, if y'all don't know, this is what the song Kickstart My Heart is about. Mm-hmm. The guy literally died of a heroin overdose. Like, he was legally dead for like 10 minutes or something like that. And they gave him a shot of adrenaline straight to the heart and revived him. Like, straight out of Pulp Fiction. Like, just... And he's just like, oh shit, I'm back. And that really happened.
I know.
Like, that's insane.
When I was a kid, I thought the song was called Can't Stop My Heart. So, it's basically the same thing.
All right. Is it time?
What's time?
Is it time to talk about the most successful debut album in the history of debut albums?
Let's talk about it.
Which, by the way, I didn't even know that until we were looking this up. Obviously, I knew this album was huge. I didn't know it was the best-selling debut album ever.
Whoa.
And, of course, we're talking about Appetite for Destruction.
Woohoo!
By Guns N' Roses.
I mean, wow. They are totally 80s. I mean, the excess, everything bigger, everything sex, drug, and rock and roll, that is them.
But at the same time, they were way more real than some of the other hair bands.
Oh yeah.
Like they were they were really living this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were really just like passing out in the street and just like doing drugs. You know what I mean? They were just fucking crazy.
I remember like when we first started talking about Guns N' Roses with each other. And I remember you saying like, oh yeah, well all those other bands, they look like they would probably like sleep with your girlfriend, but Guns N' Roses, they would rob you for heroin money. Like, Michael Jackson dominated. I don't know what came out this year. Was Bad didn't come out this year, did it?
It did.
Okay, well, oh my gosh, well you got to mention that. I mean, that just crosses a whole bunch of different genres. So yeah, 1987. Bad. I mean, he did a whole, directed by Scorsese, right? Shout out to Brooklyn, right in Hoyt Skimmer's Forward Trade Station. You know, he did a whole, that's when Michael started doing these like epic video movies, you know, and they had premiere times. Like, okay, it's coming on at 8 o'clock tonight. Be there or be square.
By this time, Michael was already number one.
Yeah.
So now it's like when Michael puts something out, it's an event.
Yes, exactly. So interesting. Yeah, gone are those days, but people like that's definitely a time where it's like different generations would like sit and be like, okay, we're all gonna watch this right now. You know, not too many artists where the whole family is gonna be like, you know, let's sit and watch this guy. You know,
definitely not Guns N' Roses.
Definitely not GNR at all.